So, hi guys, welcome Rockstars to this new episode where I'm gonna show you how to start a freaking podcast. So, stay tuned, and here comes the intro. So, no intro maybe. How to start your podcast, a step-by-step tutorial. So, my name is Paul Groothuizen. I'm a growth hacker. I am a funnel hacker, and I'm the owner of Wealth Rockstar, which shows you all the steps of online marketing. So in this episode, I wanted to do a special episode about how to start a podcast, because I've been hired by a company and they are a B2B company and they're looking to get more leads. And my first suggestion was to start a podcast, because creating content can be a pain in the bum. So if you don't have an audience, and let me just slide back to the second slide, why you should start podcasting. It's like you're building your own content machine, and a podcast is awesome because you create a platform. And if you have a podcast, all people go like, ooh, I'm gonna be on his podcast. So you could interview competitors or get new clients, or if you're in online marketing and you got somebody who is great at YouTube and you just want to have an episode about YouTube, you invite somebody on your podcast and they have a chance to promote their product, business, or just their brand, and you have content. And the cool thing about this is if you have somebody like a guest on your podcast, you're actually borrowing the audience from other people. So because he's on your podcast, somebody comes on your podcast, he's probably going to promote it to his audience. Go like, oh, check out the podcast here and there. So you're not only creating your own content machine, you're borrowing traffic from others. So if you don't have a following yet and you're looking to build a following, and you can hear my daughter in the background, so that's a great way to borrow audience and get eyeballs on your content, your service, or even your B2B service. So the awesome thing about a podcast as well is that you're producing evergreen content. So you record a podcast once and can be downloaded for years to come. So if you take advantage of the little tips and tricks which I'm going to show you, like an intro for your podcast and an outro with a call to action, you can actually start siphoning traffic from your podcast to your business. So you will make more sales, you get more leads, you will get more visibility. And the cool thing is that a podcast, you can repurpose your content. So if you make, like I'm making this video now, I could turn this into a podcast by just stripping the MP3 file or just the audio file, upload it to my podcast, and it's all done. So content repurposing, you just shoot it once, you just syndicate it to different platforms. If you do it right, you will be on iTunes, you will be on Spotify, you will be on 15 other platforms, or 30 or 100 if you get the tracks right. So that's why if you don't have a podcast, you should start a podcast right now. So people always think, oh, it's really hard to make a podcast, but it's really not. It could be done by just your phone. If you have an iPhone or any phone, you go to anchor.fm, and you can see it here on the screen. Anchor.fm, it's a free service which allows you free hosting of your podcast, because you have data files, MP3 files, you need to host them somewhere, and they even take care of all the marketing. So they will take care of the publishing to iTunes, to Spotify, and everything else. So how the heck do you start your own podcast? And that's what I'm going to show you in this episode. So if you're on my podcast, go to my YouTube channel and actually see the entire presentation. So that's content repurposing, like I told you right there. So you go to anchor.fm and you sign up. You click the sign up button, and you just need to fill in your details, your login name, your company, and that's it. And then it says, oh, make your first podcast episode. But before we start doing that, we go into the settings of anchor.fm, because you need to make an intro, you need to make some art. So you have a logo, and you might want to know what the heck you're going to talk about. So building your first episode. updating your settings. That's where we go first. So think about a name for your podcast. So the podcast I'm creating now for this company is Manufacturing Superpowers. It's a CNC company. It has distributed CNC services. That's what it's offering. And we thought it would be a great idea to start a podcast about CNC products. So in the settings, which you can find here, and you can hear my daughter screaming in the background. I'm not hurting her or anything, but she's probably making a YouTube movie. So you can name your podcast. In this case, we did Manufacturing Superpowers. Don't think about the name too long and too hard, because it might just be something that comes to you when you're asleep. So don't get stuck on the name. Find a name, just brainstorm with somebody in your business, in your niche, about the name, and think about what it's about. And fill in the description. So in this case, we're helping makers and creators worldwide with manufacturing superpowers. This all can be edited later. So don't get hung up on this and stare at the screen for an hour. You add a category, which is technology, because we're in CNC, we're in subtractive manufacturing. So after that, it creates the profile. So instantly your podcast is live after you fill this in. You can link it to an external website, which is awesome. And that is what you want to do, because it's a huge platform and everybody links back. So you're getting SEO juice to your website as well. You can fill in your external link, which should be like a separate landing page than just your website. You give it a name, you get RSS feed, and you define the language. And that's it. Your podcast is set up. So now we're going into step 2, which is creating a podcast cover art. And this can be really easy, because on Anchor FM, you can search for pictures or photos or anything. And you type in a keyword. I did airplanes, and you see airplanes coming up right there. Stock photos, free to use, commercial, license, everything. So if you don't want to do that and you have your own picture, you can select upload your own image. So in this case, I had a Manufacturing Superpowers image, which I just uploaded, and you can crop it in the app. Really easy, and that's your logo done. If you don't have a logo and you don't want to use the images that the Anchor.fm provides, you can always go to sites like Fiverr, Upwork, Freelancer, where you can outsource everything. So people might, where people might create the logo for you, or you find the best talents on Fiverr, Upwork, or Freelancer. You can use it, the free tool like Canva.com, or I use Usign, which is a paid service. I paid for it once and I have it like 3 years now, and it's awesome. But don't get stuck on the logo. It's not important. Just pick a picture, and nobody's gonna go like, no, don't listen to this podcast because it got a crappy logo. Nobody freaking cares about the logo. So if you want to do it yourself, Canva is a good free option. And if you want to have some stock photos which are license free, you can go to Unsplash or growth.supply/free, stated on the screen. You can download this entire presentation, by the way, plus a cheat sheet in the description below this video. And you get all the resources, tools, and tips and tricks in the description as well. So, of course, if you're listening to this episode on a podcast like iTunes or Spotify, go to wealthrockstar.com and you will find all the resources as well, or check out the YouTube channel. So your podcast is now ready to go. You got your logo, you got your cover art, and you set up your entire description and title and your name and everything set. So now you have an evergreen platform. You have something to offer to your guests, something of value. If you have a business which is doing CNC, you might interview people who are king of CNC, who are manufacturing kings, or they make awesome products. Or if you have an entrepreneur blog, you might interview Tony Robbins. Don't think he would be on your podcast, but you definitely could find some other people in the niche. Maybe they have other podcasts, or they are a book author which is specific to your niche, and you can offer them to go on your show. So they get exposure to their brand, and they can promote their book, and you get a cool episode. So that's a cool thing. So that's what we thought for this company as well. So now it's like creating your first episode sounds really, really daunting, and it's not that daunting if you use a script. So most people go like, yeah, what should I talk about? If you talk about daily things, daily struggles, it's always a good thing. So every niche people are struggling, and every niche people are having problems, and in every niche people are finding success after finding failures. So that's great stories to tell. Your personal stories are great stories to tell. So I personally use the Expert Secrets book, and there's gonna be some cool other script things in here, but there's a little thing called the Epiphany Bridge, and that's like a short script that lays out in a few questions your entire episode. So what the heck should you ask somebody if you want to interview somebody? That's all in here. Link is in the description below. But let's talk about some other things that are really important if you want to create your first episode, and where people start to struggle. People go like, yeah, how long should a podcast episode be? Well, it depends. If you're just talking to fill time, you should probably end your podcast episode. If you don't have any value to add, you should stop it. But I figured out that the sweet spot is between like 20 to 40 minutes. Some and more intense podcasts go on for like an hour and a half. If you listen to Self-Made Man, there are episodes that are like an hour long, and sometimes even longer. So how often should you release new content? That could be daily, but it's a hassle to get all the people invited, find new guests. There's always prep work done. So if you release like 2 episodes a week, that would be awesome. So the next thing people ask is, what should be the episode title? Well, it's up to you. If you think we're talking about struggling entrepreneurs who find out blah blah blah, you just make a descriptive title about that. Manufacturing superpowers, or how to go from zero to hero, and blah blah. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to be, you need to have a little curiosity in there. So that's a good thing to have. What ideas are there for podcast episodes? So I've written down a few things that you could use as an interview type. So you have a beginner's guide, how to get started in the expert topic of expertise. So if you got somebody who's a online marketing guru, you might want to have him tell his story about how he got started. So there's other things like critical skills. Create an interview about specific skills needed to get results. When you want to explain the skills necessary to get a specific outcome for your results, you could have frequent asked questions. You can do a podcast episode on how the expert got started. You interview somebody who has already expert status, and you're just asking, how did you get started? What were your struggles? What did you want? What did you wish you knew before you get started? Which you know now, you wish you knew then, or something like that. So another episode could be what mistakes did the expert make, and how could the audience help to avoid it? So myth and misconceptions, new ideas and techniques, rules of the road, state of the union. There's Mila. A step-by-step roadmap, tips and tricks, secrets. So all these things are valuable episodes that you could create in your own podcast. So the next thing is, now you got your episode set up and you're thinking about hiring an expert, or not hiring, interviewing an expert, and then it comes down to what people mostly get stuck on. How the heck do I create a podcast? Like I said, you can just use your phone. On the other hand, people go like, well, I need a mic, I need software, and I need this and this. You don't really need that much software. You could go live on YouTube, or you could go live on Facebook, which you can do with your phone. You can just use your earplugs, as a mic and you start talking into your phone. You can use Screencast-O-Matic as a software, which I'm doing right now. I'm not only making this a podcast because I'm getting the audio file out of it. So it really doesn't come down to the equipment, the software, the tools, the script, or talking into the microphone or anything, but I am going to talk about what you need. So first thing you could do is Anchor FM and just your phone with your earplugs. Talk about the equipment for a little bit. There is an awesome microphone which I have here. You can maybe see it. It's the Yeti mic. It's an awesome microphone. Costs about $90, $90, $100. Sometimes you can buy it on Amazon and you can just plug it into your laptop and it doesn't need to cost hundreds and hundreds bucks. So the equipment is a simple microphone. You might have earplugs, or you might have something else that you need, like a camera, but even the camera on your iPhone usually outranks any other thing. So software and tools, which I'm going to talk about right now. The software that you need, which I'm using right now, is Screencast-O-Matic. You can also use Camtasia, which is like a paid version of it. Screencast-O-Matic you can do for free, up to 15 minutes, and then for $15 for a year, you buy an entire license. So that's a no-brainer. You got Screencast-O-Matic, you can create YouTube videos, tutorials, everything. So the software is actually not that expensive. So you just need screen recording, or you could, like I said, you could go live on Facebook, on YouTube, and you don't need any freaking software. The other tools that you think you need, you don't actually need if you use Anchor.fm. So Anchor.fm has everything from recording to the messaging that people can send you messages or ask questions in your podcast. It's all in Anchor.fm. So if you want to use, no, we'll get to that later on. So recording your podcast, it's all about the episodes. And I know people are struggling with everything to build an episode, and they are struggling with ideas and headlines and everything. So that's why Russel Brunson, creator of the Expert Secrets book and the One Funnel Away Challenge and all other cool stuff that is related to internet marketing and building a business, he created funnel scripts. And the cool thing in funnel scripts is that there's an entire podcast wizard, which shows you not only what the podcast should be about, it shows you the notes, the handout, it writes the emails for you that you can send to experts, it writes the emails that you can send out to listeners after the podcast. It's just an amazing thing to have. And I'm using this in my business and for my customers as well, because they go like, Paul, what should the episode be about, and what email sequences should we send out, and how do we get people to view the podcast or listen to it, and it's all in here. So this entire little thing puts out the PowerPoint slides, it puts out the documents, even in text files, so you can have a beginner's guide interview, a book review if you want to interview like an author of a book, awesome Expert Secrets book. If you want to have somebody else like an expert in 3D manufacturing or anything, it's all in here, and it all puts it out in PowerPoint or in a document and everything. And the link to this amazing software you can find in the sheets, which you can download, or in the description below. So another thing that people might struggle with is talking into the freaking microphone. So this might be really, I don't think it's that hard of an issue or a big issue for me now, but in the beginning you need to look into the camera if you're making a video, otherwise you look stupid. If you don't talk into the mic and you are doing a podcast, then it's stupid. You got bad sound quality, everything goes to shit. So, but you're not talking to a mic, you should actually think that the mic is like a person. So you're just telling somebody on how to do this. So I'm not talking to this mic here, I'm actually explaining somebody how to do this. So I imagine somebody sitting in front of me and just showing them what I know. I know how to make a podcast, so I'm just going step by step by step by step. What else should I do? I actually created this entire presentation this morning as I was setting up the entire podcast. So if you want to have guests, and there might be a lot of experts that don't really live in your neighborhood or even in your city, you can always use Skype or Zoom or tons of, you can even do it on Facebook and YouTube. You can invite people, you can do a Google Hangout. So you have a screen sharing option, and everybody just talks to each other, have a nice conversation, share your screen and have a conversation, and after that you can just extract the audio file. You can even do that on YouTube, I think, and then you have your interview done, and you can repurpose, listen to my words, repurpose your content, because if you have a remote guest and you are recording your Skype session, then you can repurpose that for your YouTube channel. You can make a little 10-minute video for your Instagram stories or your IGTV, Instagram TV, or you can upload the episode to your blog, or you can just, there's even services like translating services, Larson, I think, where they translate your entire audio file, transcribe your audio file, and you can have a blog post. You can have screenshots from the episodes and make that into Instagram pictures. So you're repurposing content and you just create it once. Producing and editing your podcast, it's really not that hard, because I just recorded an unboxing thing for the One Funnel Away challenge. I did that on my phone, and every freaking iPhone has iMovie, where you can import your video file, and you can even say, I just want to save the audio file. So there's tons of free tools available. There's Camtasia, there's Screencast-O-Matic can do this editing as well. There's tons and tons and tons of tools. But you can even use simple free tools. Or I'm having a blank right now. So what do I actually use? I use Screencast-O-Matic. Or you can outsource it. You go to Fiverr and say, you pay somebody $5 to extract the audio file. Software and tools. So creating your intro and outro, that's the coolest part of your podcast, because you have to sum up in your intro what the podcast is about, because in the first 15 seconds people want to know what they're gonna listen, what value it adds to them, and what you have to bring to the table. So looking for music is always a thing on the internet, because if you have just music from any site or a movie or anything, YouTube might pick it up, or your podcast might pick it up that it's licensed music and it's not showing your episode. So there's a few things you can find music. In Computac, it's free and you can just click on it and get very common music. So because it's free, it's used by a lot of people, so it's not that one-off. It's not so unique. So the difference in free versus paid is that you have more unique content, and that's the same with the video and audio. So if you pay for an audio file, less people have that same file, so you might find more unique content and music. So Jamendo is another great royalty-free music where you can just buy it and you pay once and the track is yours. There's an entire license where that you don't need to worry about anything. There's Audio Blocks, which is a monthly subscription service, and if you really want to keep things up there, also Music Radio Creative has awesome tailored intros, but it's all, so from the top of the screen it's free, and we slide down and it gets more expensive and more unique. But a good tune in your podcast makes for a great podcast. So now you know where to go to set up your podcast. It's Anchor FM. You know what equipment to use, how to structure the episodes, where to find the music, how to do an outro and an intro, how to find the script in the Expert Secrets book. There's an awesome script you can use for anything, a podcast or a video or anything. There's a lot of content ideas in here, but let me take these last few minutes of this episode where I can actually show you on how the heck this funnel scripts thing works. So let me see. You go back to the beginning, and this is all parts of funnel script, and there's a link down below, and just for this awesome thing it's totally worth it to buy. So it's just 16 questions. The interviewer host, who will host the interview? So that's my name plus the CEO of the company. We're gonna host the first podcast together. So what is the name and title of your Facebook Live? Could do it for Facebook Live. I'm using it for a podcast. It's Manufacturing Superpowers. Who is the person being interviewed? That's Jesse Kirchner. He's a 3D specialist and a software engineer and an entrepreneur, CTO of Batchforce as well. So we're going to interview him. What's the target audience for this interview? It's entrepreneur, software engineer, or makers. So it's pretty wide, but I think it's like 3D creators or innovators. Target audience for the interview, entrepreneurs, and it gives you examples. So could be fitness coaches, business owners, fitness testers, anything your podcast is into, you just fill it in here. Episode theme. What is the focus for this interview into 3 words? How to go from design to real product. Manufacturing designs. Interview topic. What is the main thrust or topic in this interview? For example, using public speaking to get more business, get more traffic for your website. So how new design technologies become the way instead of the goal. That's what I typed in. So, and you can always change this. So after a few times you go like, what's the number 1 biggest benefit for your audience? How to get more business to start your own business. And again, you can change this all later. Get more customers, get your brand into the world. The 3rd biggest thing. The big how-to payoff, how to succeed in the maker industry. A cool secret, a cool app to help you reduce manufacturing cost and get more freedom. So that's the entire thing. Batchforce has this cool application, online CNC manufacturing tool where you upload your design and people can just get a quote. And it's always, they don't need to compare prices themselves. They get this awesome tool. So there could be other cool things in there, which like design software or other design tools or creator tools or anything. So you just put that in here. You give it the expert bio and background. The call to action. For more info, check out the new Batchforce platform. What's the title of the interview? And there's a different tool in there which helps you create the title. And then it comes out with the show bullets. And then you hit next, you click on build, and it says, oh, what do you want? Do you want a text file? Do you want HTML? Do you want docs? Do you want a slide? A PowerPoint presentation? So your entire book review or beginner's guide or frequently asked questions, it's all in here. So it gives you not only the entire show notes, but it also gives you the episode description, the beginner guide for the full show, the handouts, the quick questions, and the show bullets. So you actually have something to hand out after the episode. Do you want to get the show notes from this episode? Download it here and you gather the email address. And that's what the podcast is all about. Gathering leads, getting new sales, and getting new customers. So this is an awesome tool. It's not like I just want to promote this funnel script thing, but if you want to start a podcast, and I know everybody is struggling with how to set up the episode, how to name the episode, how to find experts, let me show you. It freaking shows you all the emails, how to build the ads. Ask an expert to let you interview them. Click build, and let me just name it test, and you click view, and here it is. Hi Jesse, Paul here with a quick question. I was wondering if you'd please let me interview you for my Manufacturing Superpowers podcast. Our audience of entrepreneurs will be really interested in what you have to say about manufacturing superpowers. Blah, blah, blah. So everything's done for you. And this tool will make sure that you have all the resources. You have all the ideas for your podcast. You have the greatest titles and everything. So it's a tool that you need if you're not like creative enough to think about stuff yourself. If you don't want to buy this, buy the freaking book. You don't even have to buy it. You just pay for shipping and use the script in here, the Epiphany Bridge script. It's just like, use the backstory. What were your desires? What was the external struggle you are dealing with? What was the internal struggle? What was the wall you hit? What was the epiphany you got after doing this for a while and it didn't work? Pfft. And this is freaking every episode. So there's a link down here to get Expert Secrets book. And I hope you really start doing this for your business, because you're creating an evergreen platform for your own company. And it's evergreen because normally if you do a Facebook post, it gets buried and nobody will see it again. Everybody's on social and nobody freaking cares about social anymore. They post something and nobody clicks the link in it because it gets buried. Comments. But this is going to be on 30 platforms. So Anchor FM switches it to Spotify. You'll be on iTunes. You'll be on tons of other things. So I hope this was a good episode for you. I hope you got some value from it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me show you this entire presentation with I'm gonna just build more tools. And so I hope you liked the episode. Please hit like and subscribe and see you next time.